must be the money if you want to go and watch a movie with me. Smoke weed and then we eat some popcorn. Poppy, then who must we tune into? Hey, it's Popcorn Live, hey! If you want to come and look at a red curtain for free and look at some DVDs, well, this isn't the show because I don't have any more DVDs. Actually, if I check my closet, I can find some. But I'm not going to do that right now. Instead, we're just going to talk about streaming and movie theaters. How you doing? Did you guys have a good week? Yeah? You have a good week? You have a good week? What did you guys do this week? The weather was phenomenal. I was pretty excited about that. It was a beautiful weekend to sit around and watch TV. What up, doe? Welcome back to Popcorn Poppin' Live, your ultimate movie, TV, and streaming guide. There's too much content in the world and you can't be wasting your time. Let me waste my time for you by watching all that looks vaguely interesting in everything cinema and let you know what's poppin' and what ain't. Tonight, we'll be looking at the past week's new films, including How to Train Your Dragon, Life of Chuck, and ranking the top 8 Stephen King short story adaptations. That is not the full-length Stephen King books. Like, for instance, there is The Shining, very, very famous movie that was based off of a Stephen King novel. That wasn't a short story, so that won't be added to the list, even though that's one of the best Stephen King adaptations. We're talking about films that are directly from Stephen King short stories. You with me? Okay, cool. We'll also go over what new projects are coming out this week, where to watch them, and give some poppin' projections as well. But first, I'm going to take a drink of water, and we will dive into the news from Tinseltown. This is really hard to open. Don't you hate when you're in public and you need to use your shirt to open up something that's very easy, and you will use your shirt to do it and you still can't open it, and then you hand it to your girlfriend and you feel emasculated? I love it. Let's dive into the latest news from Tinseltown, shall we? What is new in Tinseltown? Last week we had discussed that Snoop Dogg biopic is going to be happening soon. Well, guess what? They already signed on the new Snoop Dogg. It's Jonathan Davis. He's set to star as the venerable hip-hop artist. What the hell does venerable mean? I've never seen that word before in my life. In any case, you may recognize him from Outer Banks or Do Revenge, which I believe both are on Netflix. The film is a look at how Calvin Broadus Jr., never knew that was his name. I knew his name was Calvin. I feel like I'm mispronouncing Broadus Jr., entered into the West Coast hip-hop fray. Taking the moniker Snoop Doggy Dogg, he'd later drop the middle name. Snoop brought his laid-back, drawling delivery and sharp lyrics to Death Row Records, where he worked with Dr. Dre on his smash debut album, Doggy Style. He broadened into other platforms to the point he might well be seen rubbing elbows with Martha Stewart or getting in the pool with Michael Phelps during the 2024 Paris Olympics, where he became one of the high points of the Olympiad on NBC and Peacock. Ridiculously long synopsis about what the Snoop Dogg biopic is. You know, if you live in America and you're older than 5 years old, you know who Snoop Dogg is. I didn't need to read all that for you. You may not remember that he was a rapper, even though his last album was decent, and it came out like this year, I believe. I'm excited for the film. I can't speak to whether or not this will be good castings. I didn't watch Outer Banks or Do Revenge, but remember when Lakeith Stanfield played Snoop Dogg in Straight Outta Compton? That was crazy. In any case, this movie is also going to be directed by Craig Brewer, who did Hustle and Flow, Black Snake Moan, amongst other projects. You can check out Lakeith Stanfield in Straight Outta Compton as Snoop Dogg on, I don't know where it will be, but you can check that out. Check that shit out. In sequel news, Bill Pullman and Rick Moranis are set to reprise their respective roles as Lone Star and Dark Helmet in the new SpaceBalls movie from Amazon Studios with Keke Palmer, who you may remember from One of Them Days and Nope. But joining the cast is also Bill Pullman's son. I think it's Lewis Pullman. I don't have it written here, but he was in Thunderbolts recently. Decent actor. I'm sure he has some other credits, but that's what he was in most recently. I was never like a hardcore Mel Brooks fan, but he always had my respect. I loved History of the World and Young Frankenstein. Spaceballs, I was never, before a couple of years ago, a huge Star Wars fan. Now, I'm a pretty big Star Wars fan, minus Andor. in any case, I will be rewatching Spaceballs soon. And I like the fact that they're also bringing back Mel Brooks for the 2027 release of Spaceballs 2. And Mel Brooks is 97 years old. He will return as Yogurt. This is classified as a non-prequel, non-reboot sequel, part 2, but with reboot elements, franchise expansion film. I'm guessing all the returning characters will play smaller roles than what we're used to from the first film, but I'm sure it'll still be fun depending on the director, who I don't think that they have. Oh, they did get one. Josh Greenbaum, who did Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar, which is a hilarious film with Kristen Wiig. He'll direct from a script by Benji Samet, Dan Hernandez, and Josh Gad. Not that guy. Josh Gad, the snowman man from fucking Frozen. I'm sure he'll play John Candy's character's son in Spaceballs 2 or something. But if you want to watch Spaceballs 1, head over to HBO Max. In also light news, but horrific news, but strange news, Robert Eggers is going to be directing a Christmas Carol. A Christmas Carol. Robert Eggers will be directing the new A Christmas Carol. Will it be a horror film? I doubt it, but please be one anyways. If you don't know the name, he recently did the smash hit Nosferatu, which is basically Dracula, but with longer ears and an uglier face. And sources tell Deadline, because I get most of my news from Deadline, so shout out to Deadline, that Warner Brothers is in development with Eggers, who will write and direct a retelling of the classic Charles Dickens Christmas ghost story, A Christmas Carol. I don't think he's ever done anything non-horror. So if this is a straight up just retelling of A Christmas Carol, I'm interested. I believe the closest interpretation of A Christmas Carol was with Jim Carrey in Robert Zemeckis' CGI to Christmas Carol. I'm pretty sure that was pretty close to the book. But they've also added that in negotiations to play Scrooge is none other than frequent collaborator Willem Dafoe. So, what's up next for Eggers? Is it this move or Eggers? Is it this Christmas Story? No, it's actually Werewolf, which he plans to shoot later this year. I love all these dope directors using Willem Dafoe as a lucky charm. Wes Anderson, Yorgos Lanthimos, all the greats. Anyways, you can check out Nosferatu on Peacock if you want a little taste of what could be A Christmas Carol. In other super news, James Gunn commented on what's going on with Batman 2. It's been pushed quite a few times, and by the Batman 2, I mean Matt Reeves' The Batman sequel with Robert Pattinson. Excellent film, as I've reported before. I believe it is the best. It is the best movie of all the Batmans, but it is the second best Batman film, if that makes sense. It's such a great detective film. It's just you can't fuck with Dark Knight or Batman Begins. In any case, I'm excited for the Batman 2, and someone recently asked James Gunn, hey, what up, Doe? He said, what Matt's doing is still really important, despite all stories to the contrary. We're supposed to see that script shortly, and I can't wait. So that's exciting. I want this shit to move along. I'd like there to be a script that they're ready to fucking shoot. You can check out The Batman on Max right now. But if you want to get into a bit of a thriller news and a surprising sequel news, I was very surprised. Oh, no, I already reported that they're making Ma 2, but they've already tapped Ashley Nicole Black to pen Ma 2. Now, again, I haven't finished Ma. I just started it one day and I completely forgot about it until like days ago when I first reported that they were making Ma 2. I love Octavia Spencer, so I'm down. I just wasn't down for like the storyline necessarily. But if Octavia Spencer said yes and they're doing a sequel, I'm going to watch that movie. If you don't know Ashley Nicole Black's work, she wrote for Amber Ruffin Show, which I'm so mad isn't on still. Black Lady Sketch Show, which I did really enjoy, especially in the Quinta Brunson years. Bad Monkey, Shrinking, and Ted Lasso. You can rent Ma, the first one, right now. No word yet on when Ma 2 will come out. I'm assuming either the end of 2026 or the beginning of 2027, since there's not even a script yet. The Roots are making the movie. Roots co-founder Black Thought is writing and directing a new narrative film that they hope will drop audiences into hip-hop soul, and it's powered by Wonder Room, a 360-degree immersive platform. I don't quite know what that means, except all I heard was that Black Thought's doing a narrative film. I'm very excited about it. And he's teaming up with, of course, Questlove, because you can't do anything without Questlove, which isn't true. He's done solo albums and featured on other songs that didn't involve Questlove. Sorry, I'm a big The Roots fan, if you didn't know. I believe that Black Thought may be the best rapper ever. Maybe not, but definitely up there. He's one of my favorites. I love his flow. In any case, he's making a movie. That's exciting. Cool. If you haven't seen his acting before, check out The Deuce on Max. Excellent series. Stars James Franco and James Franco. And if you want to check out Questlove's previous directed work, he did a couple of documentaries, but he did not do narrative films. But you can check out Sly Lives, R.I.P. Sly, and Summer of Soul on Hulu right now. Let's get a little cartoonish, shall we? Adult Swim is developing Heist Safari, a high-octane comedy from Dexter's Laboratory creator Genndy Tartakovsky. Probably mispronouncing your name, Mr. Tartakovsky. The show is described as an animated, high-octane action comedy telling the story of three frog brothers who rob a bank. Seems simple enough, but the execution is special as exclamation point, hashtag, ampersand, $, question mark, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. That's what the log line reads, so that's what I'm reading to you. If Genndy Tartakovsky doesn't sound familiar, he did Dexter's Laboratory and Samurai Jack, which you can rent Dexter's Lab right now, and you can watch Samurai Jack on Max right now. I have not watched all of Samurai Jack, and I really want to, especially after they came back with that like final season. I think that's super dope. And I always thought it was a badass show. In any case, Heist Safari should be coming out probably in the next few years. Let's get back to live action, but second season of the anthological series. And anthological meaning that each season is its own story. The first season of Presumed Innocent was with Jake Gyllenhaal and whether or not he committed a murder or not. And it ended with whether or not he was found guilty and who did indeed kill the person. If it was him, they revealed it was him. If it wasn't him, they revealed it was someone else. In any case, they've chosen their new lead and their new story for season 2. And the lead is Rachel Brosnahan. She's from Marvelous Mrs. Maisel that you can watch on Prime right now. But the second season of Presumed Innocent is inspired by Dissection of Murder, the debut legal thriller novel by Joe Murray. Never heard about it, but details around the plot are being kept under wraps. Having said that, if you just go out and buy Dissection of a Murder, you'll probably be able to figure it out. I'm assuming the show is still going to be a did she or did she not do it type of series. I'm down. Rachel Brosnahan is a good actress that you've probably seen as well in House of Cards. And I feel like there's something else I'm forgetting. But Marvelous Mrs. Maisel was a very well-made show. I still haven't finished it. I think I'm like one season before their final season. But very well choreographed, very sharp writing, and excellent acting from her as well. So I think that's a pretty cool idea. Speaking of other good actors, Matthew McConaughey and True Detective creator Nick Pizzolatto have set their sights on another classic character to tackle, and that is Mike Hammer from a script by Pizzolatto. With more than 250 million copies of Mike Hammer books sold globally, it is often recognized as the most popular American mystery thriller series of all time. Hammer is credited with inspiring numerous other characters, including Dirty Harry, Jack Reacher, and James Bond, who Ian Fleming famously referred to as the British answer to Mike Hammer. Have you heard of Mike Hammer? Not my hammer. Everyone's heard of that. Ha ha ha, that it's small? Shut up, you. I never heard of Mike Hammer. So I do like detectives. I like film noir, and I definitely like Nick Pizzolatto's mystery writing. True Detective, specifically season 1, and I liked season 2, and I loved season 3. His writing is really cool when it comes to detective shit. So I'm excited to see what they're going to bring to the table. And don't forget, Nick claims that Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson would be down for another story to tell from the first season. So I think that'd be pretty cool too. In any case, this is something that we can bite our fingernails over. And then the last piece of news, Sir Gary Oldman, the Oscar-winning Darkest Hour and Slow Horses actor, has been knighted by King Charles III in the monarch's birthday honors. If you don't know Gary Oldman, you don't know good acting. I almost burped and I almost threw up projectile. If you don't know Gary Oldman, he deserved to be knighted because he's one of the greatest actors who have ever lived. Weird picture for me to choose, but he's very comfortable in this new show that he's on that I told you guys time and time again that's excellent. That's Slow Horses on Apple TV Plus. Watch it. It's hilarious. It's a great spy thriller. It's super fun. Anyways, he's one of the greatest actors of all time. This is a long time coming. He should have been knighted a long time ago. What took you so long, Britain? Ridiculous. Elizabeth, you should get out of your grave and you should have been the one to do this. But I digress. Some works of his that you should see that you can only rent right now are Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, one of my favorite films, but I will admit I don't recommend anyone to watch it, even though I just told you to watch it, because it is one of the most boring movies in the world, but it's so fucking good. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Bram Stoker's Dracula. Excellent Dracula story. Definitely better than Nosferatu, in my opinion, with Keanu Reeves, Winona Ryder, Anthony Hopkins. Very well-made film by Francis Ford Coppola. You can rent right now. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which was the second in the reboot series. Probably my favorite amongst all of those new Planet of the Apes films. That you can rent right now. Leon the Professional, which you may remember Gary Oldman's meme of saying, everyone! That's Gary Oldman. He's that famous meme guy. Leon the Professional I remember it being a really good film, but it has a very predatory storyline with a young Natalie Portman. It's very weird, very controversial these days. I would say I have to watch it again, but I don't want to. Why don't you watch it and let me know? You can watch that one on Pluto. True Romance. He plays one scene in True Romance that some may say would be offensive, but he's really good in it. I don't care. You can rent that. And Darkest Hour, which he won an Academy Award for. And he was excellent as Winston Churchill. That you can rent. But, of course, if you haven't seen it, The Fifth Element. Probably one of the best movies ever made. That you can watch on Pluto right now. So, congratulations to Sir Gary Oldman. Let's go on to the Limelight shows that came out this week. I didn't watch any of them, so I'm just going to briefly go over what came out before we talk about the new movies that I did see. For instance, FUBAR, which is Arnold Schwarzenegger as a CIA operative on the verge of retirement, discovers a family secret and is forced to go back into the field for one last job. It returned to Netflix with their season 2 with Carrie-Anne Moss. Haven't heard anything, but I'm interested once I found out they hired Carrie-Anne Moss, to be honest. So check out FUBAR on Netflix if you'd like. Again, you can check out one review I did a long time ago when the show first came out, and it basically stated I started it, watched 15 minutes, and was like, I don't think I'm going to like this show. But since they have a season 2, I'm slightly interested in giving it another shot. Divorced Sisters, Tyler Perry's spin-off series from Sisters, about 5 friends, Rashida, Geneva, Naomi, Tiffany, and Bridget support each other through divorce, marriage, dating, healing, and friendship struggles while their loyalty and sisterhood bonds are tested. You can check us out on BET Plus. Probably the first couple episodes are out right now, but it definitely already premiered. New episodes drop on BET Plus every Tuesday. And if you have Sci-Fi, which I don't know many people that have regular cable, but this new Sci-Fi show that seems a bit, what's the word, where there's like 40 episodes in each season. It's kind of like Law and Order. There's a word for it. I can't remember what it was. One miraculous day in rural Wisconsin, the deceased rise from their graves, yet appear and act unchanged. And now it is up to officer and single mother Dana Cypress, cool name, to solve a murder case where everyone alive or undead is a suspect. This is on Sci-Fi Thursdays. Fuck, I can't remember the name. It's like Law and Order. Routine. It's not routine. What is the word? I'm so close. What kind of show is Law and Order? It's like systematic, procedural. This looks like a procedural show, procedural sci-fi show. But all right. Last new thing that came out is The Chosen, which new episodes drop on Prime Sundays, which is basically the telling of Jesus Christ. I hear good things. It is very high rated. I just never watched it because I'm not very religious. But I don't need to be religious to watch a good religious, well-made film or TV show. I'm not exactly against it. So maybe one day, but I believe this is like season 3. I'm not sure, but that's on Prime right now. And something that came out, 2 shows I want to talk about real quick that came out already. I just wanted to revisit that. Stick is still dope, still a background show, but Owen Wilson really carries it. Ooh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Ugh. Peanut butter. Ugh. And just in case you think I'm lying, I'm not eating it by the thing, all right? I made sandwiches over here. I'm an adult. I make my own peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. You can check out Stick on Apple TV Plus Wednesdays. That's when the new episodes drop. But there's about 4 episodes out right now. I dig it. If you like Owen Wilson, you're going to dig the show. But I really wanted to read. Sorry, we lost connection for a second, but I think we're good. I wanted to revisit season 2 of Tires. Definitely snuck into the top Poppin' shows of the year. So hilarious. Has heart. I'm shocked that Shane Gillis can show any, but he can, and it's dope. I love it. It is super, super funny. You can check out the entire first 2 seasons on Netflix right now about a man who inherits his father's auto repair chain and tries to turn it around despite torture from his cousin and now employee Shane, played by Shane Gillis. Very funny show. If you don't like Shane Gillis's comedy, you probably won't dig it. But again, I did not care for the first season, and I love the second season. And no, we can go into other movies that came out in theaters, like The Materialists. This one I didn't see. This is the last thing that I'm going to report that I didn't see, I promise. The Materialist is about a young New York City matchmaker's lucrative business, and that gets complicated as she finds herself torn between the perfect match and her imperfect ex. Dakota Johnson plays the lead. Pedro Pascal and Chris Evans co-star in a sophomore directed film. The director Celine Song, who did Past Lives. She was nominated for it too. You can check out Past Lives on Paramount Plus. Excellent romance, like art film, but it is not like a rom-com. This is more romance. Like, it looks like there's jokes in it, but not very funny ones. I wasn't very interested in it, and I feel bad because Roxy was like, I would have saw that. I'm like, oh, my bad. She didn't know it existed. Maybe she doesn't watch this show because I reported it was coming out this week. I digress. So yeah, I might check it out, but I would wait for streaming. I think the cinematography looks clutch, but plot-wise, it doesn't look that great to me. However, I looked it up and the ratings are still pretty good. So maybe you should be the judge of yourself. You should be the judge yourself and judge this movie by going to theaters and reporting back to me. Sound good? Sounds great. Now, what I did watch on streaming is Deep Cover, which is about 3 improv actors who are asked to go undercover by the police in London's criminal underworld. The 3 actors are played by none other than Bryce Dallas Howard, Orlando Bloom, Nick Mohammed, and the one that hires them is Sean Bean, who usually plays a villain, but he's not a villain in this. This is directed by Tom Kingsley and co-written by Colin Trevorrow, who did Safety Not Guaranteed and a couple of the Jurassic Worlds. Poppin' or not? This film was poppin'. I wasn't exactly surprised, but I was surprised about how funny it is. Yes, it's a comedy. Yes, Bryce Dallas Howard's pretty funny in it. She is the straight man leader, but she's very good at leading, and she still has her funny moments. Orlando Bloom plays like the very serious actor, but he's done comedy stuff before, including Ricky Gervais's Extras, playing himself. Kind of the same character as this, actually. But he was actually really good in this. Yeah, he definitely had his moments. But definitely the person that shines, and they do not do too much of it. You know how you have a funny character like Zach Galifianakis in The Hangover, and he's funny in spurts, but when you have him star in things like Hangover 2 or Hangover 3, if you have that funny every 5 seconds, it gets a little dry. You're wringing out a very, very moist towel until it is making your throat parched. I didn't like Hangover 2 or 3, even though they were decent. My point is, this movie didn't do the Hangover effect where they found a funny actor and decided to put him in every single, or put his lines in every single scene. He showed up when it was funny, and it definitely landed. Easy background watch. Everyone is funny in their own way. Has some scenes that push the envelope on recycled scenes in comedy that you've already seen 1,000 times. For instance, test the product. Oh, God, I have to take cocaine. You've seen that scene 1,000 times, but they push the envelope in this film, and it's fucking hilarious with what they do. So definitely check out this film that has a great cast like Patty Considine and Ian McShane, and you can watch it on Prime right now. Let me know what you think. On the not comedy side of things was Echo Valley, which is a very dark drama that centers on Kate, who is dealing with a personal tragedy while owning and training horses in Echo Valley, an isolated and picturesque place, when her daughter, Claire, arrives at her doorstep, frightened, trembling, and covered in someone else's blood. So look, Poppin' or not, we have Julianne Moore playing the mother of a heroin addict, Sydney Sweeney, who's constantly trying to get her shit together and returns home when we think she's got her shit together. Julianne Moore's character is someone who cannot say no to her daughter. She divorced the father years ago, already had a relationship since then. But the only time you see him, he's like, look, we agreed. Stop giving her money. She's sick. Don't do this. You're making it worse. And she goes, I can't say no to her. She's my daughter. And you can really see that love between Sydney Sweeney and Julianne Moore, specifically Julianne Moore to Sydney Sweeney. Sydney Sweeney, this is a hard role. And I will say Sydney Sweeney definitely did a good job in it. It's hard for me not to compare it to Euphoria because she's unbearable on Euphoria. Not Sydney Sweeney's fault. Again, it's just the character. I hate that character on Euphoria now. Echo Valley, I don't like her, but I do empathize with her. She's an addict. She can't help herself, but she does some shitty shit in the film. I don't want to spoil anything, but I will say that it is an uncomfortable film in the sense of it's not fun to watch at all. This isn't a movie where while you're watching it, you're like, wow, this is so good. I'm so happy I'm watching this. The whole time I had this movie on, I was like, man, I want to shut this off. This is depressing. I don't like what these characters are doing. I don't like seeing Sydney Sweeney in such a harsh reality that this character brought upon herself, and the mom trying to pick up the pieces any way she possibly can. Domhnall Gleeson, who plays the villain in this, is excellent, but he's so fucking like, oh, you hate him. You want someone to pick up a gun and shoot somebody, or everyone. So I will say this movie was a good film. I think it was very well made, but I'm not going to call it poppin', and this will help me define what poppin' means. When I say a film is poppin' or not, that means if I say it's poppin', I recommend you to watch it and that you will enjoy it. I'm going to say this movie's not poppin', but I don't want to take away from the fact that I don't think I want to acknowledge that I believe this movie is well made. I think the acting was really, really good. Sydney Sweeney was excellent. Again, the annoyance of Euphoria is there. She does this screaming thing that reminded me of Euphoria, and I'm like, oh my God, I hate her. But she is so good and kind of scary at specifically one time. There's some really well-made films in this, guys. Julianne Moore is such an empathetic character that really makes you feel. I love Julianne Moore. I love the projects that she picks, but when she does shit like this, and I think it was Still Alice, just really bummer projects. This is one of them. So if you want to be bummed out, check out Echo Valley on Apple TV Plus right now. Otherwise, why don't you just go to the movie theater and see something easy? I'll talk about what that is right after this commercial break.
There you are. We were worried sick.
Do you know how long we were looking for you?
Every time you do this, you're gone longer and longer.
You're gone so much, we almost felt like giving up.
Listen, we love you, but if you keep this up...
If you go missing one more time, mister, I'll literally put you on a leash. Is that what you want?
Baby, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Shut up. Is that what you want?
No.
I'm sorry?
No.
All right, then.
Listen, if you could just stay put where you are at all times, Everything will be okay, all right?
Okay.
All right, good. I trust him.
I don't know.
Baby, let's just take a deep breath. Feel better?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now I think... Oh, damn it, he's gone again!
Now we won't be able to watch Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Oh, man. That... I'm sad. This is sad me. I'm sad.
Get off.
Okay.
Parents, always tether your remotes. That way they don't get lost in the couch and you don't miss out on Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is a public service announcement.
I hope you enjoyed that public service announcement. Moving on! Spotlight films, where 2 films are in theaters. One super major, one not so major. Excuse me, something's happening to me. The first major film that we're going to talk about that was released in theaters, I think none of you have watched, but if you have kids, you may have taken them, or you're thinking about taking them. How do you train your dragon? Well, you can find out in theaters by checking out a film about an ancient threat that endangers both Vikings and dragons alike on the Isle of Berk. The friendship between Hiccup, an inventive Viking, and Toothless, a night fury dragon, becomes the key to both species forging a new future together. This is in theaters right now. This is based off of the DreamWorks picture, How to Train Your Dragon, which had voices including Jay Baruchel, Jonah Hill, and others. Poppin' or not? Well, this is a live-action adaptation of... This is a live-action adaptation of a very beloved animated film. One that I never really found beloved. I never found anything against the film. I remember seeing the trailer for the animated one and thinking, I don't know. I don't really want to see this. And I never did. I always heard really great things. They made like three or four movies and a TV show, all successful enough where this film that was made in 2010, only 15 years later, has a live action adaptation. That means something. And when I heard about it, I was like, this seems a little soon. And when I watched the trailer, I was like, yo, this looks really close. And so I decided to rewatch the animated film, because I kind of watched it when I was younger, but I was like background noise or someone's like little brother had it on or something. Because I was like 19. I ain't gonna watch How to Train Your Dragon. I only watch Pixar movies. I don't even watch Pixar movies anymore. How old am I? Anyways, I liked what I saw from the trailer. So I decided to watch the original animated film. And I liked the original animated film specifically because I thought it was pretty funny. I thought they had some inventive ways of having different types of dragons. The mythos that they created in the film, I thought was a bit endearing. I dug it. And I thought it was funny. But when I saw the flying scenes in the animated version, I was like, yo, this is cool. I dig this. And again, I watched this after watching the live action trailer. So all I'm thinking about when I'm watching the flying scenes in the animated feature was, yo, they can and they better nail these flying scenes. That's all I'm excited for. I'm also excited about seeing a cast of characters that I find funny. So, decided to go see the movie. And I walked out and I had some thoughts. Before we get to those thoughts, everybody say hi to Bucky. Hey, Bucky. I need you to do me a favor, big guy. Let me know. Let the viewers know, because I already know, about how we rated How to Train Your Dragon. Tis be poppin' indubitably. It was poppin'. I liked it a lot. Pros are close to the original. Very close to the original. There were so many scenes that were like straight out of the original. Excellent costume design and art direction, because again, this is about like Vikings and shit. So you have some different clothes, different manner of speaking, and a different look. And they had all of that. It was very whimsical. The acting was fun. I liked the main kid. He did remind me a little bit of Jay Baruchel from the first one. I did like the female lead. Gerard Butler was pretty good in it. Gerard Butler was very good in it. Nick Frost, I'm always a huge fan of. And yeah, I thought acting was solid. Some of the cons, though, before we get into the rest of my pros. The movie's not as funny as the original. And it's probably because they had like comedic actors doing voices of these kids. And these comedic actors that are way older now, can't do this. They're not young enough. And also, they wanted to hit like a more relatable story that was less comedic. It's fun. Specifically, a pro is the score isn't too scary. It's thrilling and it's whimsical, but it's not too scary for a kid's movie, because some scary shit happens in the movie, but I was never like on the edge of my seat, which sounds like a dig, but it isn't a dig. I think that if you're doing a kids movie, you need to choose your battles about how thrilling you should be, because you don't want to scare the kids too much. And I feel like if I was a kid watching this film and hearing the music, I'd be like, yeah, I'm comfortable. This is enjoyable. I'm a robot child. I kind of wish I didn't see the first original movie before seeing this. I am a completionist. If you are telling me that this movie is a remake, I'm probably going to watch the original. If you're going to tell me this is the 8th installment of something that had 7 movies prior and 2 TV shows, I'm probably going to want to finish all that shit before I watch the new one, because I like to see what they're referencing and see how close they are to everything. Issue: this was too close to the original, so much so that everything surrounding it wasn't very special. The scenes that they recreated were special in the sense of, yeah, they did do that. I do find Toothless adorable. These flying scenes are sick as hell. They did a really good job. It's just nothing else really sparked, besides little bouts of fire coming out of the mouths. The little battle scenes that they had in training to fight the dragons were fun and cool and somewhat funny, but everything else besides the relationship between him and Toothless, I did like the relationship with Hiccup and his dad, with Gerard Butler. I did like that a lot, but it wasn't anything like new that we've seen before. And since this is a remake, the thing that they're really trying to surround is the look at what we did that they did before. They didn't really they adapted it into live action, and I can still see the difference I can find the difference between this and the original. And I know they absolutely paid the original respect with this film. It's just everything else wasn't very oh, wow. Besides the flying scenes. I thought the flying scenes were whoa, dope, cool. So much so that towards the third act, the final boss fight, I was nodding off a little bit. And I don't think it's the film's fault. I'm not their target audience. I don't even think parents that are taking their kids to the movie that actually saw it when they were a kid were the target audience. I think that they're just trying to bring in a new audience to watch this and the original film. And for that, I think they succeeded. It wasn't a bad movie by any means. It just wasn't the most special movie, which is not bad. So still popping because it was entertaining. If you're a fan of the original, I think you'll appreciate how much they reference the original and how much they recreate. The flying scenes are dope, but you will agree, yeah, the first one was better, which is usually the case. So I'm going to give it, I don't want to give it a burnt medium, because burnt medium indicates it wouldn't even a C. But I feel like I give so many movies a medium. But I'm going to give this one a medium. I think it did its job, and that's it. Nothing wrong with that. Right? All right. So moving on to our main film of the night. Why is this the main film of tonight, Tony? We've never even heard of Life of Chuck. Didn't know this is a movie. Didn't know Loki was in another movie. He is. He's in Life of Chuck, which is about a life-affirming, genre-bending story about 3 chapters in the life of an ordinary man named Charles Krantz, played by Tom Hiddleston. By the way, that logline was a little wrong. One of these acts, the first act, which is Act 3, it'll make sense in a second, is not about Charles Krantz, but kind of is. Poppin' or not, why did I go see this movie that barely anyone has heard of? I know some people have. People probably been walking by posters of this, seeing something about thank you for 39 years and being I don't know what this is. I don't want to watch it because I don't know what it is. Well, it's a movie that is also based on a Stephen King short story. Don't forget, Stephen King doesn't only do horror. He does some nice things too, like Stand By Me and Misery. That's kind of a horror. In fact, that's a big horror. But Mike Flanagan is a director that has adapted a lot of Stephen King's works, like Dr. Sleep. He's Gerald's Game, and he's also done Haunting of Hill House, The Fall of the House of Usher, amongst other projects as well. He also did his original Hush, which you can watch on Tubi. I tell you guys this so much. Hush is awesome. Watch it. Anyways, how was Life of Chuck? It's not a horror film. Mike Flanagan hasn't really done anything outside of horror as far as I know. And if he has, it like had a lot of heart, but it still had some scary elements. This movie, I walked into not thinking there would be any scary elements. And it had a lot of heart, and it is about life and appreciating life. But before we go any further, Bucky, do me a favor. Let the people know whether or not I was disappointed. Was the film poppin', or was it not? Of course it was poppin'. Are you nuts? It's Mike Flanagan. Now, why did I put the word wonderfully? Well, the pros are excellent storytelling. Excellent storytelling. This movie is divided into 3 chapters. And the first chapter that you see is titled Act 3 subtitle. I can't remember what the subtitle was, but it was Act 3. So you're like, oh, okay. So we're watching the end of something. And you're focused on characters that include actors Karen Gillan and Chiwetel Ejiofor, who's so good in this movie, guys. He should really be on the poster because it's his perspective in this opening act. Something weird is going on in the world, and everyone is kind of frightened, but they don't really know how to react to it. And it's very similar to real life, where we have a lot of anxiety going on in the world when it comes to climate change, politics, wildfires, like shit like that. Things are happening in the world that we're like, yo, what does this mean? This act 3, is about that. And it is done so chef's kiss well, because it's a scary feeling from beginning to end of this act. I was sincerely scared, but it was funny. They did a lot of charming stuff in it. And it was so weird to see a horror director do a scary situation in such a charming way. I really respected the fuck out of it. Act 3 was my favorite. And that's this first chapter that I'm vaguely describing to you guys. And it made me jump because it makes you think, oh, everything's all right. But something huge happens. And I'm like, oh God. And when another thing happens, look at all this stuff I'm saying. And when I can't tell you too much. Just know Act 3 is awesome. You don't know what the fuck is going on, though, in Act 3, but you kind of get a sense of what's going on. Act 2 actually goes into Tom Hiddleston's story better. And this is the story that we actually have of the life of Chuck, which surrounds about a special moment in his life where he shared a public special moment with 2 other strangers. And Nick Offerman is the narrator, and he does a great job reading because he's got such a great voice. But the writing is fantastic, and it really makes you feel. It makes you feel happy and alive. And he does something which you're seeing right now. It involves dancing, and it's such a well choreographed scene, great music, and such great choreography. Very, very good act. And the first and final act, Act 1, the final act, is about his childhood. And something else that happens is very special in his life. He experienced loss, which includes his grandma, played by Mia Sara. If you don't remember that name, you may remember her from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I was like, yo, where did she go? She retired from acting in the early 2000s, and she came back for this, specifically for Mike Flanagan. And she's so good in it, y'all. I hope that she comes back to do more acting. By the way, did you know that there was a Birds of Prey TV show on the WB? We're going to start a new segment called, Wait, this was a thing? Did you know that? But we're not going to start it this week, so I forgot to write about that. Anyways, this final act has to do with loss, but it also has to do with him trying to impress a girl and do something that he really loves that reminds him of the person that he lost as well. And it has to do with a special room, very reminiscent of House of the Haunting of Hill House. In the Haunting of Hill House, there's a very special room. There's a special room in Life of Chuck. And when you figure out what that room is, you're like, yeah, Mike Flanagan loves this shit. It's crazy that this is based on a short story. I am interested in reading the short story because I'm wondering if there were 3 acts just like there was in this film, if they were told backwards and if they were done as well written as the film has done. So I gave you all the pros in very good detail. It really helps you appreciate yourself as well as the life you live and the wonders of how strangers come across one another along with the magic that they can share together. If I have to nitpick, which is what Popcorn Poppy does of cons, the only nitpicky thing I can say is ever since Midnight Mass, the miniseries on Netflix, that's very well made, and I do recommend it, but he's done it ever since then. Characters start monologuing and they just keep talking when the conversation is already over and the point has already come across. And there's so much more dialogue where you're like, you don't need to, like, I think you're a good writer, Mike. I don't think you're like a genius lyricist when it comes to dialogue. Having said that, you're one of my favorite directors, and I would be pissed if you directed something you didn't write. So I do like your writing. I just think you go into a bit too much dialogue. I'm sorry, too much monologue-y when it comes to dialogue. Having said that, in the fall of the House of Usher, there are specific monologues that I absolutely love that I would love to use in auditions down the line. So that's the only con I can say. And I literally had to nitpick that because I couldn't give this a large with butter because of those scenes. And also there came a point where I was like, all right, I'm ready to go. But that third act was still great. Actually, I lied. There wasn't like all right, I'm ready to go. It was, all right, I understand. When are the credits? It's definitely not too long. It's certainly not too short. And it is sincerely full of heart. And in a word, it is wonderful. See the film and you'll know why I use the word wonderful. I don't usually use it in everyday life. You can be the judge of yourself of this large popcorn film. That's right, I said large. Not with butter, but close. Very, very fucking close. It is a perfect film. I just think, oh man, I don't know. I kind of want to give it butter. I'm going to give it a large popcorn for now. Maybe at the end of the year, I'll give it an award for like the one that changed my mind. Anyways, if you want to see something that's lighthearted, that has some spooky elements in the first act, but the rest of it is like, sincerely, I can't say it enough, full of heart. Check out Life of Chuck in theaters right now. So we talked about a adaptation of a oh god, am I dying? We just talked about an adaptation of a Stephen King short story. We know about all these Stephen King films like Shining, Doctor Sleep, etc. The It and It Chapter 2 and It the miniseries. We know that Stephen King has written a bunch of shit. But we're not going to talk about the live action adaptations of his full length novels, but we're going to talk about the best Poppin' top 8 Stephen King short story adaptations. Number 8, 1922, which you can watch on Netflix right now. It stars Thomas Jane as a farmer who conspires to murder his wife for monetary gain and convinces his teen son to participate. Damn, I forgot about that. This is a fucked up movie, y'all. Wilfred and his son Henry soon become delusional as they continue on with their lives. The stars Thomas Jane and Molly Parker. Excellent, dark film. Super dark. A film that you want to end as, not because it's not good, but it's like, yo, this is fucking dark. I love it. It's so good. It's very, very well made. But if you don't want to watch a bummer, don't watch this or Echo Valley. But check this out on Netflix if you're curious. Thomas Jane's so good in it. It's very good. Apt Pupil, which is about a boy who blackmails his neighbor after suspecting him to be a Nazi war criminal, played by Ian McKellen, and the kid is Brad Renfro. This is directed by Bryan Singer. If that name sounds familiar, he was a great director who did X-Men, X2, X-Men Days of Future Past, Apocalypse. But he also did Valkyrie, Superman Returns, which I think is underrated, Bohemian Rhapsody, and Usual Suspects. If you can put Kevin Spacey weird feelings aside, Definitely watch Usual Suspects. It's one of the best films ever made. You can watch it on Max. And Valkyrie is a slept-on Tom Cruise film that you can watch on Prime right now. But this movie was very good. When I was younger, man, I watched it quite a few times. But it is fucked. Still pretty good. Check it out. I didn't even know it was a Stephen King short story, too. All of these I'm very interested in reading. Another one that we're going back into more of the horror side. Apt Pupil isn't horror, it's more of a thriller. In the Tall Grass is definitely horror, and it's mindfucky, y'all. I'm kind of surprised I don't have this higher on the list. After hearing a young boy's cry for help, a sister and brother venture into a vast field of tall grass in Oklahoma, but soon discover there may be no way out, and that something evil lurks within. This stars Patrick Wilson and directed by Vincenzo Natali, who did Splice in Cube, both of which you can rent. Splice is fucked, just to let you know. In the Tall Grass is fucked too. You're watching it and you're like, what is going on? I remember when I first heard about this movie and I watched the trailer, I'm like, this looks stupid. This looks really, really stupid. And it's good. I think it's a very well-made film. So be the judge of yourself and check it out on Netflix. The fifth best Stephen King short story adaptation, Life of Chuck, for all the reasons I just said. The amount of heart outweighs the mindfucky craziness of In the Tall Grass. Tom Hiddleston is really great in it. Chiwetel Ejiofor really shines the most, if you ask me. But Tom Hiddleston was definitely perfectly casted. And man, Mike Flanagan, you really know how to capture the heart. You really do. The soul. You did a great job. So what could possibly be the ones that beat this? I guarantee you've heard of at least 3 of these. As you know, this is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. The Mist. Now, they did make this book. They probably did this with a few of the ones listed, where it was a short story in a book of short stories, but then that short story got so popular that they released it by itself. So, I promise you this was released as part of a book of short stories. But The Mist, after a massive thunderstorm and eerie, unwavering mist descends upon a Maine community. Locals seek refuge in a grocery store from the monstrous creatures now roaming the countryside, killing everyone they encounter. Crazy movie. I remember when I first heard about it, I wasn't a big Thomas Jane fan yet. I don't think Hung came out yet. And I was like, I don't know. This seems like, I don't know. But I remember watching it at my computer like this. And there's a tentacle scene that opens with teeth and the noise it makes. I was watching with headphones. I was like, oh, it scared the fuck out of me. A few scenes scared the fuck out of me. Frank Darabont did this film. He did The Green Mile, also a Stephen King adaptation. He's, looks like Mike Flanagan's going toe to toe with Frank Darabont. Anyways, one of the best endings you'll ever watch. Very frustrating, but very good and sad. But check out The Mist on Paramount Plus right now. Number 3. No one loves this movie as much as I do. And I've talked about it quite a few times.
There you are. We were worried sick.
Do you know how long we were looking?
That wasn't the movie. That wasn't the movie. Secret Window. Underrated Johnny Depp film about a successful writer in the midst of a painful divorce is stalked at his remote lake house by a would-be scribe who accuses him of plagiarism. This is directed by David Koepp, who directed Trigger Effect, Ghost Town, and Stir of Echoes. Great ghost film, by the way, that you can watch on Tubi. He also wrote so many movies. Jurassic Park, Death Becomes Her, Carlito's Way, Mission Impossible 1, Panic Room, War of the Worlds, amongst many, many others. Secret Window is so fucking good. From a filmmaking perspective, this is a film that really inspires me to direct and to write, but also to act. Johnny Depp is so fucking good in this. I think every movement that he does is with intention, and every camera angle is also made with the precise intention of how to drive the story forward and how to really frame what the audience is seeing. I think the thing that puts people off about this film is the twist ending. The twist ending, I'm not telling you what it is, but you've seen this twist ending 1,000 times. And honestly, it got me when I watched it, but when I show this movie to other people, people are like, yeah, it's this, right? And I'm like, yeah. And they're put off by it. They're like, I don't really care. But if you watch this with a director or cinematographer mind, if you love film, any filmmakers that watch this show, hopefully you're there. Let me know if I'm wrong. Watch this film and tell me it's not very well made. Like, even if you have to take story out of it, even though I like the story, but I just think it's so fucking well made. But you know what else is well made? 1408. Starring John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson. Author Michael Enslin, who specializes in debunking paranormal occurrences, checks into the fabled room 1408 in the Dolphin Hotel in New York City, settles in, and soon confronts genuine terror. Only con, not enough Sammy J. Samuel L. Jackson? Yeah, Sammy J. We call him Sammy J because, you know, we're cool like that. Sammy J is really good in this, but he's only got like 2 scenes. John Cusack, one of my favorite actors. Not so much anymore now. He admitted that he doesn't really go for those projects that we all loved him for back in the day. But still, one of my favorite actors. And this movie was one of his last really, really great films. If you love horror, you should love this. I don't know why you wouldn't like this movie. It's so good. It's not a one-day movie. It does. You see several different days, but most of the events happen in one room over the course of one night, and it's batshit crazy. Super, super dope. You can check this out on Pluto right now. So, what is the #1 short story by Stephen King film adaptation, you may ask? And I'm going to tell you, it's, I think, listed as, it sometimes changes with Godfather on IMDb's top 250. Frank Darabont's The Shawshank Redemption. So you got 2 Frank Darabont films on here, The Mist and Shawshank Redemption, which, if you don't know, Shawshank Redemption is about a banker convicted of killing his wife, forms a friendship over they have a word here that I've never seen before. I had to look it up. Uxoricide. A banker convicted of killing his wife forms a friendship over a quarter century with a hardened convict while maintaining his innocence and trying to remain hopeful through simple compassion. I feel like these log lines give away too much. I'm sorry if I did. Just don't listen to what it's about. Go see this prison movie because it's so good. It's so well made. It's crazy. It's a short story because it's like a 3-hour long movie. Don't worry. Don't feel like 3 hours, at least to me. Morgan Freeman is the bomb in Shawshank, yo. And, of course, Tim Robbins is very good in it as well. You can and will and at least should rent this right now. I think most people have seen Shawshank. If you haven't, sincerely, it's not like The Godfather or I'm trying to think of other old. It's not like Citizen Kane, as in, like, it's not a super old movie that won't hold your interest. I promise you it will. It's very good. Go watch it. So if you agree with my Stephen King short story adaptation list, let me know in the comments. If there's any that I missed, let me know in the comments. If there's any that you want to see or that I haven't mentioned or that I haven't seen, let me know in the comments. And just let me know if I did a good job on this list. I think I did pretty good. I do know some people are going to be like, what about The Shining? And I'm going to tell them again, this is a list of Stephen King short story adaptations. The only reason I didn't do the full-on Stephen King adaptations is because we all know The Shining. I can't think of it. We know that those are going to make the list. So I will do that list sometime, but not today. All right. Let's wrap this up by talking about what is coming out. Oh my God, full of technical difficulties. Let's wrap this show up by talking about what's coming out this week. Well, what is out now? What am I going to watch this weekend? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to watch this weekend 28 years later. That's right. After a long-awaited period, we finally got the 3rd installment of the 28 fucked up number of time increments later film, which is the 3rd installment of the first film, which was about 28 days later. After a mysterious, incurable virus spreads throughout the United Kingdom, a handful of survivors try to find sanctuary. I am not going to read the log line of this film. I do know that it does take place on an island. We had 28 Days Later, which was directed by Danny Boyle and written by Alex Garland. The second film is 28 Weeks Later, which Danny Boyle directed the first opening scene, which is a crazy ass scene. And it was directed by, the rest of it was directed by someone else. I just showed 28 Days and Weeks Later to Roxy. She was not a fan of the first film, but she loved the second film, which I must mention, just in case anyone's interested in watching these. These are, this is basically a zombie trilogy. Except they're not technically zombies. They're infected with something called rage, which makes them go, I hate you. And they'll fucking bite and eat and smash and kill. They really highlight they're not just zombies in the second film. The second film is definitely what you want in a zombie film, but the first film is so well done. It decides to do a red camera, really grainy, indie type feel that feels post-apocalyptic on purpose, and it does a great job doing so. Stars Cillian Murphy and Naomi Harris. Naomi Harris better be in this movie. But they're making 3 more of these movies, including 28 Years Later. And they've already announced, I can't remember her name right now, but she's the one that directed Candyman, the new one. She's directing part 2 of 28 Years Later. And Cillian Murphy is said to return in this film, but Danny Boyle recently said it won't be this one, it'll be the next one. I think he's lying. We'll see. I forecast this to be Poppin because Danny Boyle's coming back to direct. Alex Garland came back to write. And it's got a pretty decent cast of Aaron Taylor Johnson, Jodie Comer, and Voldemort himself. Oop, shouldn't have said that. Rafe Fiennes? Is it Rafe Fiennes or Ralph Fiennes? It's the fine guy. Danny Boyle also did 127 Hours, Sunshine, and Trainspotting. If you want to get ready for this week, and you, oh no, I can't go see this right now. I have to watch the first 2 movies. Poppy's got you. 28 Days Later is on Pluto right now, and 28 Weeks Later is on Hulu. I forecast it to pop. I will not be going to check out Everything's Going to Be Great because everything sucks. JK, this movie looks, like it's full of heart. But it stars Bryan Cranston in The Smart family who wrestle with their oversized dreams. They come to realize that the struggle to find your voice and your place in the world can happen no matter what stage of life you're in. This also co-stars Allison Janney. I think this will pop, but it will be like a little boring. Like I said, I watched the trailer and I like what I see from Allison Janney and Bryan Cranston, but this movie isn't going to be centered on them. It's going to be centered on their kids. So I'll wait to hear someone else say, yeah, you should really go see this. Because I don't know. I'm going to go see it. I don't know. I'm going to go see it. All right. Also in theaters, which is what most people are going to go take their kids to see. It's 28 Years Later. No, I'm just kidding. You should definitely take your kids to go see 28 Years Later. Elio, Pixar's next swing to try to make it back to the top. Elio, a space fanatic with an active imagination, finds himself on a cosmic misadventure where he must form new bonds with alien life forms, navigate a crisis of intergalactic proportions, and somehow discover who he is truly meant to be. This is in theaters, not on Disney Plus. Poppin' or not, I liked the trailer. I just think the trailer showed way too much of what this movie is going to be. It literally shows you the beginning, middle, and end. I like the storyline. I don't know if the alien's going to be very funny, though. I just think the trailer wasn't that great, but I think the movie sounds and looks fun. I just didn't like the trailer. Will I go see it in theaters? It really depends on Roxy if she wants to go or not. But if you have a family and you don't feel like leaving them yet, take your kid to go see Elio in theaters. Also in theaters is Bride Hard with Rebel Wilson. This is the joke, so it's funny. It's just so stupid. I watched the trailer. I mean, do I really need to read what the log line is? I mean, I didn't really look at the poster until just now. Now, honestly, we saw the trailer of this and we were like, I don't know. But I don't know. I think it's a fun idea. Bride Hard might be like, that might be too much on the nose. The reason I will watch this, I probably won't see it in theaters, but the reason I will watch this is Divine Joy Rudolph, the Academy Award winner, Divine Joy Rudolph from The Holdovers. She's the reason I'll watch this. I think Rebel Wilson's funny, but this poster is funny, saying like, am I going to go see the movie Bride Hard? That really tickles me. That is, I don't think I noticed the heel. It's so stupid. I must watch this film. Again, I watched the trailer and I was like, I don't know, guys, but I think it definitely has potential. It has potential. So you can be the judge yourself by checking this out in theaters. And also, not that, a Minecraft movie has been released in theaters already, as you know, because it made a gajillion dollars. But this will be available on streaming on Max this Friday, or right now, depending on when you're watching this. So that's kind of cool because I'm pretty excited. I hear good things. I love Jack Black, so I'm down. Check it out on Max. And finally, this will be another week where I don't think I'm going to watch new television, but if you want a new show that could potentially be good, that I think could be popping, but probably not, it's called The Waterfront. It does have Maria Bello, and I love Maria Bello, but it's about, as their storied North Carolina fishing empire decays, the damaged Buckleys grapple to revive their imperiled maritime heritage. It's 1000% Ozark meets Yellowstone. That's what it is. That's what the writer walked into Netflix saying. He said, yeah. Yellowstone? Oh. And Ozark. Oh, we did that, yeah. But it's the same show. Hold for applause. It doesn't really strike me. But I love Maria Bello. And I just don't think this will pop for me, but maybe it'll pop for you. Especially if you like Yellowstone and Ozark. You can check us out on Netflix this weekend. And that's it. We did it. I know this week wasn't full of the most interesting topics, but I did it for you guys. I should really choose the weeks to not do a show, but I really loved Life of Chuck. And I think you will too, if you give it a shot. You know what else I think you'd love? Hitting that subscribe button, hitting that share button, hitting that comment, and giving me a thumbs up.